Hello, I'm Jeff Razevier. I'd like to thank you for choosing to watch this video today. I'm with County Coverup. We will be sharing with you 6 different topics today or this evening. I would like to let you know the reason we have chosen to do this by YouTube video is because many of our guests that wanted to attend were concerned for their safety and for retaliation for attending. First topic I'd like to address is the Bryson Trust. I lived on the Bryson Trust starting in 1966. I probably have about as good a knowledge of the Bryson Trust and its intention as anyone in Mercer County. My father, Ken Razevier, did manage it for a number of years. Mike Boley, who is married to my sister, has been managing it since. The Razevier family has been connected for 50 years. The Bryson Trust, as we have the will, and it will be provided with this YouTube video, was intended for the youth of Salina. Unfortunately, I can tell you firsthand, that's not what's happened. We, after considerable request for documentation, finally got the financial records on the Bryson Trust. The largest recipients are number 1, First Financial Bank for charging fees. Number 2, Michael James Boley for a reduction in what the farm is worth. And number 3, it's the children of Salina, which is a travesty. In addition, last year, Salina did receive $1 million for renovation of Mercer Park. I like that it's for the community. Unfortunately, even it smells of taking advantage of the situation, as Jeff Hazel, the mayor of Salina, has his coffee shop right next to it. The whole time that I was involved with the Bryson Trust, the one thing that stood out, it was always everybody got a share. A great example would be, I can remember as a child, we always took the grain to the Neptune elevator. My father explained to me that John Seitz sat on the First Financial Bank, and we need to make sure he got access to his share. That's what it's always been. Everybody gets a share. Today, the First Financial Bank allows Michael James Boley to rent it below market. Michael James Boley puts the BrightNet money at First Financial Bank. We would ask you, the citizens, at this time of need for our young people, we have a heroin crisis. There is no reason that these kids, these youth in our community, can't get $100,000 to $200,000 per year from a trust that is right at $10 million. That money does not need to be saved for a rainy day. In Mercer County today, it is raining. So we encourage you to reach out to First Financial Bank. If they don't listen to you, I encourage you to take your money out. Reach out to BrightNet. Tell them that's not acceptable. If they don't listen to you, change your internet services. It is for the youth of Salina, and it's time to take care of our children. Second issue I'd like to address is the corruption of the Mercer County courts. Recently we released a document on the website countycoverup.com proving that Jeff Gray actively campaigned for Catherine Hillsman for municipal court judge. This is a travesty. Jeff Gray will be sending cases to that court. Catherine Spielman cannot hear any of those cases. She is already prejudiced. She has already created a pattern, if you will, by excusing herself from one case coming from Jeff Gray. I would encourage you, the citizens, any cases you know, whether it's DUI, whatever it may be, if it comes from Jeff Gray in the sheriff's office, ask Catherine Spielman to excuse herself. If she does not, and the verdict is problematic, immediately appeal. Jeff Gray has tampered with the sacred institution of our courts, and that is not to be allowed. Third issue I'd like to address is illegal dossiers being kept on citizens. Joining me is our private investigator, Jack Bastian, with Upper Valley Investigative Services. Jack, could you step up here for a second? I asked Jack to get these documents. We got information on a couple citizens. Jack, could you share what you found?
Yes, when I made the request with the Mercer County Sheriff's Office, I was able to get what I would call a dossier, secret information and files and folders on citizens. One in particular was almost 3,000 pages. It actually was, I think it originated as being a misdemeanor originally, which I felt was very unusual that a dossier of this size would be kept on a citizen in any county. You know, it kind of reminds me of J. Edgar Hoover, who used to keep records on all the politicians so he could remain in office. It's something, there's something suspicious that goes on there. It shouldn't happen. The only way that a person should be investigated by any law enforcement agency is if that law enforcement agency believes that that individual has violated the Ohio Revised Code. That's the only way that they should be investigating anything like that.
Thank you, Jack. And it reminds me that Michael Boley of BrightNet is my brother-in-law, and he would brag at family get-togethers that him and Jeff Gray ran the county. And I always thought he was just pontificating, but as I came to realize Jeff Gray keeping dossiers, you do wonder the question, what information may Jeff Gray have been provided as far as key officials, possibly who they've emailed, they had a girlfriend, possibly on key officials, what websites they may have looked at, and that begins to make sense, some of the abnormal behavior we see with some of these officials, particularly when they violate the First Amendment to protect Jeff Gray. Fourth issue we'd like to address is County Coroner Tim Heinrichs. We have FOIA requested, and it took us quite a while to get this, some of the autopsies performed by Dr. Heinrichs in the last 3 years. There were 22. Of those 22, only one time did Matt Fox actually pursue criminal charges. The rest of them were conveniently swept under the carpet. We have up to 6 families today in Mercer County who believe that their loved one's investigation was not done or was not done properly, and that there may have been foul play. It makes it worse when the county coroner does not do his job. Jack, could you please share on the county coroner?
Normally, when a suspicious death occurs, the law enforcement are obviously the first responders, and they call the coroner's office and talk to the coroner, and the coroner would usually send out a coroner's investigator called a medical legal death investigator, or he would go to the scene himself. A request was made to Dr. Heinrich of how many times he had actually gone to the scene of any of these suspicious deaths. He could not come up with one that he could remember, and we asked for a log. He had no log of how many these death scenes he went to. We also asked for a copy of his standard operational procedures. They responded with, "We don't have any." Well, what normally happens is after that, of course, they don't actually do autopsies in Mercer County. They're contracted out to the Montgomery County Coroner's Office, and they're the ones that actually do the autopsy. But somebody should, being a representative of the Coroner's Office, have gone to the scene.
Thank you, Jack. We would encourage you, if you've lost a loved one and feel that it was not done properly, ask for all the documentation for Sheriff's Department training, Police Department training, Dr. Heinrichs and his log. We're not confident you're going to find anything to the professional standard we'd hope for. If you have had a court case involving Mr. Heinrichs submitting anything as evidence, we'd encourage you to relook at that case. Mr. Heinrichs should have had a log. There should be a log of every single autopsy he performed. Mercer County has imposed a gag order on myself, Jeff Razavir, and County Coverup. The reason for this gag order is we believe we got a little too close to the truth. It is a complete violation of the First Amendment. Conveniently, as Judge Ingram imposed that gag order, we had just gotten information from Jeff Gray's Sheriff's Office that increased implication to Jeff Gray for some wrongdoing, possibly, and actually probably. In addition, we were stopped at probably the precipice moment that we could have showed you, the public, what did happen in a tragic death. We have appealed it. Our lawyer doing the work for us is Eugene Volokh from UCLA. Eugene Volokh is one of the top law professors in the United States. He has 6 times been referenced by the United States Supreme Court. Early May, we will have an appeal to the federal court. We're confident we will be victorious. When we're victorious, we will completely show you, the public, what we know. From there, we planned to take other federal action to get the officials in Mercer County to begin to behave appropriately. Last but not least is the heroin trade. Some years ago, I referenced in a couple of newspapers that Jeff Gray is the equivalent of an 0-10 sheriff. He's still an 0-10 sheriff. In Mercer County, we're blessed with so many awesome sports teams. Another great year. If we expect it from our sheriff, the same standards we do from our basketball coaches, our football teams, we wouldn't have this disaster. I ask you, the residents of Mercer County, think of what you expect for professionalism, from competence, from your coaches. Ask the same thing of Jeff Gray, because he's woefully deficient. Recently, we know he let Corey Wepker out with his mother. Corey was struggling. We wish Corey the best, but he had multiple felonies. They admit that Corey had some issues with paranoid thoughts. Why would a sheriff's office let this man out? What level of competency is being practiced? With the heroin trade, we do have a number of families that have come forward. They're very concerned why. They know who provided the drugs to their family member, yet Jeff Gray will do nothing. We have 3 dead, same dealer. Jeff Gray will do nothing. My question for you citizens, it's time to say enough is enough. We're working to get a national television network. We've talked to a few to do a special on Mercer County and the corruption in the heroin trade. It's looking good. We do believe we'll get something in the next 12 months. We'd like to ask you, the citizens, if you're willing to take part in a panel to discuss on a NBC affiliate or one of the national networks what's going on in this county, please let me know. And if I left anything to question from what we discussed tonight or today, please send me an email. We're always going to respond. We appreciate your support. Please keep following us on Facebook. Our movement is growing. We've had over 100,000 views on our website, and we're at almost 500. We're at almost 500 following us on Facebook. Thank you for your support. Let's make Mercer County a better community for all the citizens. Thank you.